Yo, Arlong, you got knocked the fuck out! Sorry for the terrible Chris Tucker impersonation, brothers and sisters. At any rate, I just thought it was fitting to end this particular story arc. One Piece, Chapter 94, The Other Villain.
Well, hello, my brothers and sisters of the Nerd Nation. I, as always, am Jim, here to bring you another review on the wonderfully written and epically woven, masterfully told tale of One Piece. The last chapter saw things finally starting to go, and I guess you'd say kind of wind down in an action-packed sort of way, as the end of the chapter saw Luffy and Arlong, of course, going toe-to-toe, and Luffy unleashing his battle axe attack, and pretty much just knocking the shit out of Arlong from floor 4, 5, 6, whatever it was at the top of Arlong Park, and knocking him through every floor on the way down, and in turn actually collapsing the structure pretty much on top of Arlong and himself. So the end of the chapter was kind of like Nami going, "Oh my God, is Luffy all right?" You know, and that's how it ends. That's where it picks up. But it's kind of cool because as you see Arlong Park just sort of collapsing from a distance, remember Zoro had been kind of a couple chapters ago when Luffy switched places with him, and Zoro was just all messed up. He was, pretty much been thrown just outside of the park, just laying there, and has pretty much just been unconscious. And all of a sudden, one of the falling rocks or pieces of debris from Arlong Park just kind of hits him. He kind of is like, what's going on? What's this all about? So he kind of gets up and sees Arlong Park falling, and it goes to shows everybody that's still outside of it, and they're like, oh my God, who won? They don't even know. Is Luffy alive? Is he dead? And then all of a sudden from the it's real kind of a cool drawn picture, because you just sort of see, like, you imagine like the sun in the background kind of shining through, and you just sort of see like just the silhouette almost of Luffy just standing amidst the rubble, on top of the rubble, and blood dripping down him and everything, and just but triumphant obviously in beating Arlong. And he goes and he's just like, and then Luffy, oh brother Luffy, Yusaku and Johnny are, and he just goes, Nami! And I'm just like, this was cool. It kind of just sent chills up my spine, chills down my spine, sorry. And she's just kind of like, like, yeah. And then he's just like, you're one of us now! And that's what I picture, him just like screaming it at the top of his lungs, and she's just like, uh-huh. So she's all in. As far as I'm concerned, I mean, this guy and his crew went to the ends of the earth, went to hell and back for her, for the freedom of her and in her village, and obviously for some measure of payback for what they've done to these people over the last 8 years. For Arlong, of course, taking her her adopted mother Belle-mere's life. So it's very, very good in that sense. And then we just kind of see in the next panel just, whether Luffy dragged him out or whether he's just, he's just laying there in the rubble. But he is just laying there in the rubble. And it's just, I picture Luffy kind of just grabbing him, being like, and like tossing him to show everybody, like, yeah, he's done. And Arlong is just, you see the whites of his eyes. He's done. He's out. His nose is broke, and he got broken the last one. So it's really kind of a cool, a cool scene. And this chapter is really kind of a cool wind down chapter. But everybody's, getting excited, and they're all ready to kind of party and celebrate, and Luffy and pat him on the back, right? And then all of a sudden we hear, oh yeah, great job. And they're like, what the? And it's that Captain Nezumi, right? Of Naval Base 16, the one that was paid off by Arlong and has been doing the shady, underhanded deals. Came and stole Nami's money, dug everything up in the Tangerine Grove, the 93 million berries. So he goes and he's like, oh, great job. I saw it all from a distance, or I saw it all. And, basically now, and I don't have to give Arlong his treasure, his cut, his 70% of that money that he stole. And of course I have all the treasure of Arlong Park that I'll take, and I'll just basically take and repossess all that, and don't, it's a pretty good job for a bunch of 2-bit pirates, but don't worry, we'll make sure that your names get put in the record books, on having done this deed, right? And everybody's like, what? You gotta be kidding me, thinking, what, this asshole just waits to see who wins out and then steps in or whatever. And then all of a sudden, a great fitting, scene or whatever, Zoro, right, who's just, like I said, weakened and bloody and has been unconscious for the last couple of chapters, just fucking whack! I mean, nails him, and some of his guys come and kind of fly out of the way and everything. And he just blindsides him, and he goes, and Zoro goes and he says, we're trying to celebrate, don't be a wet blanket, So then you see Nezumi, and he's on the ground. One of his teeth has been knocked out, and he's bloodied, from getting hit by Zoro. And he's like, "I'll make you pay. You won't get away with this." So then Nami goes and comes over, right? And she's got her staff, and she's just like, "Oh yeah." She's like, "Tell you what." She goes, "This is for shooting Nojiko, because he gave the order, and her sister got shot or whatever." And and this this is for shooting Nojiko and destroying Belle-mere's tangerine grove, and she just winds up and just nails him with that staff, right? And so anyway, so he's obviously gotten his ass kicked, and he is just a little turd burglar anyway. But she goes and tells him and makes sure that he understands under no uncertain terms, you're going to stay here or you're going to come back and help rebuild Gosa Village, okay, the one that was wiped out by Momu, and help the people on the island over here. And you're going to give, and all that treasure that he has, that Arlong has, it all belongs to the people. It's the shit that he's been stealing from them as tribute to him so they don't die for the last 8 years. That's their money, okay? And I want my money back too, the $93 million that you stole from me, you prick. So anyway, he reluctantly agrees. Of course, he has to. He has no other choice. And as he's kind of going and getting sent off in his, getting sent off back to his ship with his men or whatever, he's going and he's like, "Oh, I'll remember you. I'll get you," and that type of thing. And and he's Luffy and your straw hat crew, So he knows who he is now, and I think this is, this kind of marks the first time that really anybody of consequence in the government, so to speak, knows of Luffy. And of course, this is going to be what's going to help, I think, solidify his legend and cement him, as far as being this person that, this person of interest, that has this bounty on his head. And, because up until now, the people that he's kind of taken out, it's been on a little bit of a smaller scale. And again, there's really been no Navy, Marines type involvement. So I don't think it's actually kind of gotten back to the rest of the world. So we kind of go and we see everybody, getting together and partying. Everybody's excited. The villagers are like, we got to get everybody on the island and tell them. And it's real just kind of a happy, jovial, type of moment. And then back at the village, we go and we see Usopp and Sanji outside of a thing, and they're like, do you think he'll be okay? And he's, no, it'll take 2 years for him to heal and this and that. They go inside, and there's Zoro laying there being worked on by the town doctor. And if you remember, the doctor's good friends with Mr. Genzo, and of course too with Nojiko and Nami, and then her mother when she was still alive, Belle-mere. So he's just like, Jesus, what? How could you do this stuff by yourself? What is wrong with you? And he's trying to fix him, and lay still, I gotta fix this, and so he's trying to obviously get Zoro fixed up over here from his makeshift bandages and stitches that he put on after the the fight with Hawkeye. So, and he goes, don't you even have and Luffy's in there with him, but he goes, don't you even have a doctor on your ship, And Luffy says, oh, a doctor would be nice, but we need a musician first, And he goes back to that musician thing, and he's like, what is it with you and a musician, And Luffy's like, I don't know, pirates like to sing, don't they? So he kind of keeps going back to that. It's a theme that keeps coming back every 10, 20 chapters. It then goes in, and the chapter winds down pretty quickly after that. This one was a fairly short one, went by quick. And it then kind of goes back and takes us back onto the ship, right? And or back to Naval Base 16. I'm sorry, Captain or Colonel Nezumi, whatever he is going by these days. He has gotten back to the base, and he basically go. And we kind of see too. This is the first time we actually see the technology of the day. Again, I'm not familiar with what's going on. I just assume that being in ships and pirate age, even though they have guns, that it's akin to like the 5th century, 10th century, whatever, that it's not modern times. I don't got iPhones. And he goes and he uses this communication device that I can only assume is like some kind of phone or whatever, but it's like this snail that actually, it's the snail communication, so it's actually kind of neat. But he calls the headquarters is the bottom line, and he's calling in Luffy as this pirate. And they also have ways of, I guess, being able to take pictures too, because he has a picture of Luffy. And I think this is one of the iconic wanted pictures that you wind up seeing of him, because of course everybody that's worth talking about in the one world of One Piece has like a bounty on him, and a wanted poster. And it's funny because the headquarters is like, okay, yeah, whatever, we got that. He's dangerous. He's this, because he gives them all the information. He's with these 4 others, and we need to put a bounty on his head and a worldwide bulletin right away, right? He's going to put out an APB on Luffy. And they're like, you couldn't get a better picture of him? And he's like, oh, sorry, I tried my best, and he's all banged up still, Nezumi's missing a tooth, he got blood running down his face from getting his ass handed to him. And, but like I said, he's a little turd burglar, so nothing that I would think to even give a second glance to, but who knows. So he he calls this in, and then you see the picture of Luffy to kind of end things out, talking about how he's this dangerous pirate, and it's a big picture of Luffy smiling, so it's really a good way to end the chapter, and I think kind of start to wrap up, things with this arc over here. So I definitely enjoyed it. I would certainly like to hear from you, brothers and sisters, in the comments down below, as far as what you think. And I guess too, this is a pretty. My question here is going to be: this is a pretty iconic arc. Everybody has told me, this is kind of what got a lot of people into it. This is what got people on board. So let me know, because obviously we're only about 100 chapters in. When you started, first of all, I would like you to list in the comments when you started reading One Piece, what your age was when you started reading it, okay? And then also, what was the chapter or the point in One Piece? And and if it's past where I'm at, just say the chapter. Don't say what happened in that chapter. But if it's chapter 94 or below, just say the Arlong Park arc is what got me going. The Baratier arc is what got me going. Wherever it was that you got into One Piece and you really thought, man, this is the business. I've got to do this. So I know for me, it was very early on, but that's because I could kind of see the big picture with it, and had heard a lot of good things about it. So, but everybody's different. Difference of opinion is what makes us great and different, I guess. So let me know in the comments down below those three things. Feel free to hit the thumbs up, the like button if you think I deserve it, and then of course subscribe if you haven't done so already. We'll look forward to catching you in the next one, Nation.
As always, thanks for watching, brothers and sisters, and remember, join the Nerd Nation. It's the right thing to do. Trust me. Tell them Jim sent you.